I'm Dr. Reba Haley. Listen, I am the author of these great books for you. One is The Covenant Connection, Your Best Marriage Now, and The Broken Covenant. All right? I also have here, I Only Have Eyes for You, but I want to thank you for watching and for listening to my new podcast, my new YouTube. And I'm new to this. Pray for me, pray for the doctor that I'll be able to accomplish and finish the work that God has begun in me, okay? But here we go. Today I wanted to talk about healing damaged emotions for new relationships. As I said, I'm a therapist, and what happens is that in relationships, uh, there's a lot of baggage that we take from relationships when we're entering into relationships, and oftentimes we get in them too soon, and we don't take time to heal from the damages of those relationships. Excuse me. And so I'm going to be talking to you today about how to heal from those. All right. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. And how to heal from those damaged emotions. Listen, as I said, I'm a therapist, and I have been doing counseling for 25 years. I'm also a life coach, and I'm a woman of this. I believe that you should get help from people that are experienced in helping you, right? People that have matriculated themselves through some academic facility, institution, and who has an expertise in the subject at hand. But I want to talk about from various of my books, because all of this information can be found in my books. And I'm an ordained minister, so I do use a lot of spiritual things in how I communicate with you, because that's just the God in me is the healer. And if I give you anything less than that, I'm doing you a great disservice. But I want to thank you for listening to my YouTube. I want to thank you for I ask you to subscribe and to like, and I will do them. My desire is, as a relationship coach, is to, a lot of people don't have insurance to pay for therapy or to get counseling, and so I wanted to make this platform a place where you can get healed. I want you to join and become a member, because in the membership part of what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be helping you specifically work through these issues and the situations that you have in your life. That is my whole objective, is to help you be whole. All right. So I'm going to be talking about some basic things. I'm going to take you back a little bit to help you understand you. I think that's and healing the damaged emotions. Okay. When we are raised as children, and this is in all of my books, we are healing from damaged emotions means we have been raised in a family. We have a family of origin, and the family of origin are the people that raised you, whether it was your grandmother, your aunt, and I always use myself in transparent, because I'm very transparent. I'm very transparent in who I am and what God has healed me of, and how I'm continuing to heal in life, even as a minister, as a pastor, and as an evangelist. I'm still healing, right? Because I think we're healing all through life. We're progressing all through life. But the family who raised you are considered your family of origin, your caretakers. Your grandmother, your aunties, your mother, your father. And what you were exposed to as a child growing up in that family. Subconsciously, we carry that into our new family. We do. Whether it's subconsciously. For an example, I use myself always, as an example. Always do. My mother made peach cobbler, right? And banana pudding. She taught me how to make that before my mother got sick. I love peach cobbler, and I make banana puddings. Those are called learned behaviors. So we take the learned behaviors, whether they're healthy or unhealthy, into our relationships. What happens is we think that we're healed because we think it goes away. Whether it was psychological aggression, which is verbal abuse, or physical abuse. As a child, when I grew up, My parents, well, my aunt, not my mother, but my aunt, they used brooms, extension cords, shoes, anything they can find to hit you. Today, we know that as abuse. My parents never did that, but my extended relatives did. So, when you grow up in those kinds of environments, you learn how to parent. You learn how to communicate. You learn how to emotionally bond, or if you don't have that, then you don't know how to emotionally share your emotions with the people that you're in a relationship. So you become emotionally unavailable, right? And so you're not as caring and you're not as loving and you're not as open as you like to be, but you don't know why, right? And it comes from the childhood of what you were exposed to. And it's not your fault, it's the environment that you were raised in. So when we have those damaged emotions from those childhood experiences from the family of origin, they carry into your new relationships. So it's important to understand who you are and your makeup, because you can't correct anything you have not identified with. You can't make behavioral, attitudinal changes of things you're not aware of. You just can't. It's only when, if you believe in God, that the conviction or whatever healing mechanism you use to identify there's something wrong in me and I need to work on me. Okay? But sometimes it takes a trigger or something to happen subconsciously. You realize I'm acting like my mother, or I'm thinking like my father, or my father did that, or my mother did that, and why am I acting like that, right? It's because of the family of origin that you were raised in. And the healing from damaged emotion is the first thing, is to identify. And I want to believe that the people who raised us did the best they could under their circumstances. Were they perfect? Absolutely not. One of the major things and issues that I see with my clients is communication, poor communication. I really am keen on learning how to, one, attentively listen and to communicate, right? Because people are not mind readers, right? So you learn how to communicate. There's either healthy dialogue or unhealthy, right? Unhealthy communication is name calling and belittling and trying to manipulate. And if you don't have sex with me, I'm not going to pay the bills. Or, and if I have sex with you, then we have makeup sex. And these are unhealthy behaviors that come from the exposures of our life. Oftentimes they're combined with low self-esteem, feeling of inadequacies because somebody has belittled you, said you're no good, said you're never going to amount to anything. And as children, I really want you to understand this. As children, what adults say to you, you believe, because they're the adults. And of course, they gotta be telling the truth because they're big people and we're little people. So we believe them. What's important is to understand, when you get older, you learn to rewrite your own life. Now you rewrite your own story. You create your own story. You create the life you want for you. That comes with working and doing the work. A lot of people, they get saved and come to know God and they go to church, but they still have behaviors that are still carnal or negative or unhealthy. They still have not improved on how they communicate with their wives or with their husbands. They are still promiscuous. One of my books that I'll be working on is I Only Have Eyes for You. This is a singleness of heart book. And I'm teaching you how to be single of heart, how to avoid infidelity, how to have the heart for that one person, how to maintain the commitment and the covenant that you have with that one person, and that you don't go outside of that covenant. I had a pastor friend of mine always said, admire, but don't desire, right? You can admire people, but don't desire to have sex with them or be with them. But you can admire them because they're awesome people and they inspire you to be the better you. So it's important to admire, but don't desire. First thing of healing of damaged emotions for your next relationship is admitting. I'm an addiction therapist also. The key with recovery from addiction is admitting that your 12-step programs, I love the work, right? Admitting that you're powerless over people, places, and things. That's the first thing of healing of damaged emotions and realizing that I'm broken. I'm a broken woman. I'm a broken man. And I'm broken because of what I was exposed to. Whether it was childhood molestation, whether it was fondling or sodomy, or rejection or abuse or homelessness. You are the byproduct of that environment. But now as an adult male, as an adult female, you have the opportunity to rewrite your story. You have the opportunity to be the best version of you. First thing of healing damaged emotions is admit I'm broken. 2, that I need to work on me. Because a relationship, a interpersonal marriage relationship is only as healthy as the 2 people that are in it, right? If you're not healthy and the other person is not healthy, the relationship is dysfunctional. Relationships are only as healthy as the people that are in the relationship. And no one person can make a relationship work. It takes people believing that they're partners and that they're part of a team to make the relationship better. But healing from those emotions, identifying triggers. I want to talk about triggers. You can have done the work. Oh, you have done the work of working on low self-esteem. And then you can see someone or hear a song that triggers some emotion. And you're sitting here trying to figure out, where did that come from, right? Because there are imprints in our brains, all right, that trigger us and take us back to that 12-year-old child, and we're stuck. We're stuck at that little boy. We're stuck at that little girl because of the trigger. It could be a song. It could be a pie. It could be, there are a surmountable amount of things that can trigger a negative emotion. And that can create taking you back to a childhood event that wasn't happy. Understand triggers. Triggers are relative not only in addiction, but in life and in emotions. People, places, and things can trigger negative emotions. They can trigger you to go back to drinking. It is work to live a monogamous life in a relationship because our environment is surrounded by so many influences that influence sexuality. Everything is sexual. I mean, commercials are sexual. Everything is promiscuity. Unless you're a single heart and single-mindedness, you won't be able to stay monogamous. You'll be leaning left when you should be staying centered. And there's a spiritual component to that. Oftentimes, we seek because there's a void in us, and we seek other people to fill that void, right? Or we seek mood and mind-altering chemicals like alcohol or drugs. I'm an addiction therapist, listen, and I say this, if you were already depressed, alcohol will make you more depressed. So, you might not want to drink. Also, understand this genetically of healing damaged emotions. That if your father, there is a genetic factor. Listen, I have these degrees. Right? I know what I'm talking about, right? We are genetically can be genetically predisposed to various ailments: high blood pressure, diabetes, alcoholism, mental health disorders. That's genetic. You're just born, right? So it's important to understand the genetics of your family of origin, your parents, the biological components of cancer, of breast cancer, whatever that runs in your family, that you make up your mind that you are going to identify with them and raise your children with the awareness of the genetic predispositions that can be in their lives to prevent them from becoming alcoholics or prevent them from becoming addictions. Oftentimes, if you have mental health disorder like a schizophrenic or paranoid schizophrenic, bipolar, anxiety, you can't be allowed around stress because stress perpetuates anxiety. It is the onset of anxiety. So you identify that this is in my family. So when we realize that alcoholism, your father or your grandfather or your grandmother was an alcoholic, and that there's a genetic in you, you don't want to be a common person who drinks because you are subject to become an alcoholic, which is a brain disorder. It does not mean you're a bad person. It means that you're predisposed to alcoholism. The same with schizophrenia and paranoid schizophrenia. It's a genetic, it's a brain disorder. Listen, I'm a minister and I've seen people try to cast the devil out, and some things just require, because there are brain disorders, you can't cast the devil out of hypertension. It's called high blood pressure. Paranoid schizophrenic is a mental health disorder that affects the brain. Alcoholism is a disease. Eating disorders are health challenges, and you have to learn how to control your eating by not giving way to stress. So it's important to heal these damaged emotions, but before you can heal them, you must identify them. Okay? You gotta identify them. So when you talk about healing, and I'm going to talk about this, all right, healing damaged emotions. Emotion is a pain. It's felt, and it is usually, pain is felt, and usually fear produces the pain with emotional pain. All right? To change, we must feel and attempt to find the root cause of the pain. Now, alcoholism is a symptom of pain. There is some unaddressed issues that has caused you to want to fix the issues by drinking, right? It's like self-medicating, right? I don't want to feel the pain because pain is very powerful. Listen, I'm a therapist, have been to a therapist, and have a therapist. I think because I believe in being healthy and being whole. And sometimes you need somebody to help you walk through it with you. You need a third party. I'm also a mediator, a family court mediator, and an arbitrator. So sometimes you need somebody to just say, or just listen, and then you can talk it out. And then there's a light that comes on that says, that's it. She didn't give it to me, but I got it. I felt it in my spirit. That was it, right? So emotional pain is felt and usually produces fear. To change, we must feel and attempt to find the root cause of the pain. Healing and damaged emotions, you must find out what is causing the pain. And to find that out means you have to be honest with yourself. By saying, something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. So when we do that, we understand. When we can identify that. Perhaps as a child, the pain is coming from verbal abuse, physical abuse, neglect, and you were told very mean and cruel things, that you aren't pretty, you're not handsome. Maybe somebody abused you, sodomized you, fondled you, violated you. And I'm sorry they did that to you. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that happened to you. As a child, unfortunately, with those kinds of experiences, we miss the opportunity to be celebrated, and on other hands, we're tolerated. Maybe 10 or 12 children in the family. You didn't get what you needed from your mother, your father, your caregiver. And you missed the opportunity because they can't give you what they didn't have. Nobody nurtured them, encouraged them. Therefore, they can't give it to you. They didn't have it. So your inner self is not developed. Now it's your responsibility as an adult to take the little boy and the little girl. You got to go back and revisit her and revisit him and nurture them and keep them safe from not being violated by another human being, not being abused, not being disrespected, but making the choice to protect your inner child. Because there's an adult woman me and there's a little girl me. I can give her permission to play and act silly, but the adult me says, it's time to put up the toys, okay? Now it's time for the woman in me to protect the little girl, because there's always a little girl and a little boy in each and every one of us. And so if you didn't receive the nurturing, a negative self-image was developed. All right? So now you can allow yourself permission to grieve and grow through the pain of the past. You can't deny it happened. You didn't cause it. You can't cure it. But you can take the responsibilities of growing from it and learning to be and doing the work to be the best version of yourself. If you don't heal your damaged emotions, you will never have a healthy relationship with another man or another woman, because you're broken. You're unhealthy. And it's a process. And it's painful. I would love to tell you that it's easy, but it's not. Revisiting the past and grieving it. One of the things I suggest you do is to write a letter to the person that offended you, abused you. Some of these people are already deceased. Yeah. Write a letter. That's your exercise. First step in healing damaged emotions is write it down. No, don't talk to the people. Not yet. Write it down. Write it down, what they did and how you felt. If you're not comfortable in doing this, I would suggest you get a therapist or get a safe person that can help you grieve the loss and to grieve those emotions. And then tear them up, burn them up, and bury them. You must have a funeral for your past. You must have a funeral for your damaged emotions. On the journey to healing, we renounce every negative things that was said to us, and we replace them with positive affirmations. You have to rewrite your story, rewrite your life, rewrite your memory, rewrite your words with positive words. I use the scriptures personally. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I am God's chosen vessel, right? But whatever you need to do and to say to you, it's called self-talk. You start talking to yourself and telling yourself, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Healing damaged emotions for your next relationship is crucial to having a healthy relationship with the love of your life, the man and the woman that you want to spend the rest of your life with until the day you die. And it's possible. Remember, two broken people need to become whole to have a whole relationship. It's important to realize that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So I've taught you this on healing damaged emotions. It's going to be painful, but you want to have that next relationship. You want to have your kingdom spouse. You want to have your wonderful wife, the woman that you. Working on being the best version of you is the best thing you can do for you and for your next relationship. That's the best thing you can do, is work on being the best version of you and working on being healed. Relationships, they're work. It's not easy, but it's possible, and it's very rewarding. I want you to consider joining the community that they're setting up for me, and then in that community, I will be providing counseling and things that to help you become whole as a relationship coach. My books, I've been doing this for 25 years. They say I'm an expert. I just know that I do it, but I also do it with spirituality. I believe in healing. I believe that healing, divine healing, comes from within. I believe whatever's going on in us, it's within you. It's not, your healing is going to come from inside out. It's the God of your understanding. I mean, for me, it's God. He heals me. He can heal the brokenhearted. He helps me to process and not become angry, not becomes, he gives me awareness. That's just the God of my understanding. What I believe. He's able to heal and to set me free of addictions and promiscuities and unhealthy behaviors and dysfunctional patterns of attitudes. I believe he can, but I must surrender it. So surrendering the damaged emotions, I'm writing them down. I'm having a funeral for you. I'm also writing a divorce decree. I'm divorcing my past from my present. And I'm serving notice on my past and my damaged emotions. I will be healed. I will be whole by the power of healing. I want to thank you for listening to my YouTube, and I really ask you to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, God loves you, and I do too.